Hey guys, you're watching BTech Basil here, and this is the Sony Xperia M5. The M5 is a kind of mid-range phone, costs around 300 or so pounds. Look around and you might be able to get it a bit cheaper, available in gold, white and black. What's really interesting about it is the fact it's got a 13 megapixel front camera and a 21.5 megapixel rear camera. Glass back, stainless steel sides, plastic frame on the inside. It's an interesting one. What's perhaps most interesting is the MediaTek Helio processor inside. It's an octa-core processor, but it isn't a Qualcomm. So yeah, a lot to say about this phone. I've had 24 hours of intense usage with it. How does it fare? And before I talk about it anymore, I'm going to ask you to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Subscribing helps us out like crazy. Right, we've got a Z5 Premium, we've got a Z5, and we've got a Z5 Compact in front of me. How does this fare size-wise? Bam! It's virtually identical to the Z5. It has a styling of the Z5 Premium with its high gloss, but the size is very similar to the Z5, and that should not come as a surprise. The Z5 has a 5.2-inch screen, the M5 has a 5-inch screen. Now the reason they're similar sizes is because the M5 is bezel-tastic, thanks to that 13 megapixel snapper above. Unfortunately, in spite of the fact you've got bezels up top and down below, you do not have front-firing speakers. The mono speaker is on the left-hand side of the bottom, as is the micro USB connector. Right-hand side, you've got power button and volume rocker and a physical camera button, which works great. Left hand side, you can see you've got slots for a micro SD card and a micro SIM card as well. Up at the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and around the back that 21.5 megapixel rear facing camera. Flash NFC contact point, 300 odd pounds. I'm really impressed. This is going toe to toe with a OnePlus 2 and price, and winning in a lot of ways. 5 inches of full HD IPS display also looks good, even if it does look like it has even more bezel than it does, thanks to that black border down at the base where you've got the on-screen buttons. So inside the screen it's Android Lollipop, and it's a Sony take on Android, but it's a kind of older Sony take on Android. So in the applications tray, you've got the customizations on the left hand side. You can customize your pull down notification shade as well. It doesn't have quite as many features as the flagship Z series, such as for example, I don't think you can double tap the screen in order to switch it on, but I'm not going to be complaining too much about that because you can do things like customize white balance, and it's still got glove mode and things like that. So it covers the basics without a shadow of a doubt. I haven't had any slowdown in terms of the user interfaces. A few people were asking around that. I'll come on to the performance from the MediaTek processor in a sec. Next thing we're going to talk about though is going to be that camera. I had a really good experience with these front and rear cameras. And so first off, it takes a photo relatively quickly, as you can see. Not as fast as a flagship, admittedly, but in the same breath I'm going to show you the photo. It's going to be a good photo. It's been a reliably good photo in good light every time I have taken one. If I jump out of the photo, what's also amazing is the fact that they've retained a lot of the modes that you've got in the flagship on this mid-ranger. So you've got 4K video as well, which is amazing. The manual mode isn't full manual, but it still offers a decent amount of control over your image. As for that front camera, if 13 megapixel snapper performs well. We can jump into a couple of photos we've taken. This is a video I took. Jumping out of the video, Gina took a selfie. Nice, flattering in terms of smoothing of the skin, but still sufficiently sharp. I took one too. Again, decent in terms of sharpness, but sufficiently flattering as well. It's a really nice camera to take selfies on. In the rear camera also does a good job across lighting conditions. So for macro, you can see up close, it takes a nice sharp foreground and blurs out the background beautifully. And it even deals well with high contrast scenarios. Drop the lights and it isn't quite as great at handling noise, and mottles the image a little bit, but not too shabby at all. Again, especially considering you're not really paying flagship buck price for this thing. One thing I will say is the video image stabilization could do with a little bit of work. I was kind of expecting it, based on what was going on the screen, to just be just like the Xperia Z5 series, but as you can see, as I walk across, it kind of like wobbles a little bit, has a kind of jelly effect. Maybe I'm just very heavy footed, but either way, that's something that anyone who will want to be recording video on this thing may want to bear in mind. As far as the processor goes in terms of performance, like I said, no UI issues, and across gaming, no issues either. It benchmarks like a champ. The Helios X10 processor is an octa-core MediaTek chipset, scores 52,496 on Antutu, which is great. Played Final Fantasy on here for ages. One thing that I will say is the 16 gig internal memory won't be enough for heavy gamers, and the battery drain when gaming is disproportionate to the battery drain when the screen is off and when you're not using the phone too much. The 2600 milliamp cell inside shouldn't be expected to last too long after my first 24 hours with it. I won't say that's a conclusive verdict though. I will say check back, and if you've got any questions about it or have had any experiences on it, find them in the comments section below. Generally though, I'm really impressed, really impressed that Sony's managed to bring this to the kind of price point that they have, and if using things like MediaTek processors means they can do that, it might just help them save their bacon in the future. Watch this space and we will find out. If you want to know anything else about this, just let us know, and if you like this channel, like this video, subscribe and like. It helps us out like crazy. Thanks for watching.